lawsuits against Combs, accusing him of rape, sex trafficking, a minor assault, and many other alleged abuses. Because in that lawsuit, it reads as follows, quote, Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his free golf parties and his house parties. Upon information and belief, due to this treasure trove of evidence he has in possession, Combs believes that he is above the law and is...
Now, it's been a minute since the raids at Diddy's homes, but since then it's been one day after the other with the most explosive news coming out against the diddler. And it looks like he ain't going to be able to find his way out of the mess he's created for himself. Now the truth is that the FBI and Homeland Security has allegedly found incriminating evidence that proves all the allegations against Diddy trafficking women and kids along with the debauchery that went down at them freak-off parties. I mean, look, y'all, you know what's bad if I'm pulling out silver dollar words like debauchery.
In the world of Diddy, I do not know if things can get any crazier. If this girl start talking, it can be the end of P. Diddy. Not this girl, this girl. So if you have not heard, Kim Kardashian allegedly had some videotapes and audio tapes that was actually recovered in the raid at P. Diddy's home. So Kim Kardashian allegedly has been on high-profile individuals to gain access to confidential information such as documents and top secret information on weapons. Y'all gotta look at this. Look at this.
Closing in on Kim Kardashian. The FBI investigation, initially a tremor-threatening or carefully constructed image, has morphed into a full-blown earthquake threatening to engulf her entire empire. Leaked information paints a picture of a woman who allegedly used a seductive facade to mask a ruthless ambition, wielding stolen documents and secrets like weapons. Kim Kardashian has found herself at the center of a sensational scandal, with federal authorities uncovering a shocking plot allegedly orchestrated by the reality TV star. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has disclosed disturbing details, accusing Kardashian of a scheme involving drugging high-profile men in order to pilfer crucial documents for personal enrichment and blackmail purposes.
Yes, you heard that right. They are accusing her of lacing drinks and things of that nature. So this story gets even crazier. Hold on. Watch this.
Saga unfolded when federal agents executed a dramatic raid in the residence of music mogul Diddy, revealing a cache of incriminating video footage. This footage purportedly captures Kardashian engaged in activities that have sent shockwaves through the entertainment and legal worlds alike. In a turn of events that has both stunned and captivated the public, the FBI claims that Kardashian not only involved in the theft of vital information, but also used it as leverage to further her own interests. The gravity of these allegations has sent ripples through Hollywood.
So at this point, it look like the Fed's been keeping up with the Kardashians just like us. So I'm going to keep my ear to the street and I'll let y'all know what I know. I'm out.
Now, the FBI has in-depth knowledge of the kind of stuff that was involved in and what those tapes from all the recordings in his home contain. And it's pretty safe to say that things aren't looking so good for him and his friends.
Man, like, so, you ever heard of Panda? Like I was telling you, Panda. So you got, Panda is a secret code for a certain thing. And so when it comes down to that certain thing, what it is you basically have a certain nerve in your rectum, and if you touch that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal, you can turn a person into whatever you want them to be if you just hold them down. So, pretty much, when you see black eyes, like Blueface, and you know, got beat up, but he didn't get beat up where you thought he got beat up. He got beat up somewhere else. Okay? And so, the eyes come out. And they call him Panda Eyes.
Yeah, I don't think that boy crazy. I think that boy know what he talking about, because there was an episode he did on Jamie Foxx and he had two black eyes. Man, they about did that show to overshadow the fact that they did that panda ritual on that boy to cover up them bruises on his eyes. Y'all go look up panda rituals. These celebrities know what they into. This shit is all a game, man. That boy know what he talking about. He explained that stuff too good.
A former FBI deputy director also went on the record to talk about why the raids at Diddy's homes were so aggressive now. It's because the authorities knew that Diddy had a bunch of weapons at his home, that he wouldn't hesitate.
Now is former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. So, Andrew, the attorney's statement essentially says this all is based on information or, as a result of civil lawsuits. Is it common for civil lawsuits to spark interest of Homeland Security and launch an investigation?
Well, it's not uncommon for allegations in civil lawsuits to be considered by federal investigators and federal prosecutors and reviewed to determine whether or not a federal crime may have been committed. And that seems to be what happened here. I thought it was interesting that the attorney's statement really basically confirmed for the public that some of the investigative interest was likely generated from these lawsuits, which is interesting because several of the lawsuits allege activity that likely would fall within the parameters of sex trafficking. Several of these women claim to have been transported from one state to another and then drugged and assaulted, or his former girlfriend who claims to have been forced to perform sex acts with different people in different states as they traveled around the country. So I think it was an unfortunate almost admission by the lawyer. Not that it has legal significance, but it certainly puts us in a position to speculate more accurately about what's actually driving this investigation.
I mean, it's interesting that if that was a mistake by the attorney or, unwise wording by the attorney, I mean, they had a day to come up with a statement. It's interesting that that's then what they came up with. I mean, what are some of the reasons why law enforcement officials would choose to execute two search warrants simultaneously and with that level of force? Because that's the other criticism or one of the other criticisms by the attorney, that it was an over, the use of sort of armored vehicles and folks in Kevlar.
Yeah, so why the search warrant simultaneously? Well, again, at the attorney's direction, we can now look to the civil suits for clues. And one of them, for me, is that several of these victims alleged that Mr. Combs and his associates videotaped these sexual encounters. So that is exactly the kind of evidence that you would want to go to someone's home to see if you could find. So I would expect that was probably included in the search warrants, both at the same time, because once you hit one house, the subject knows that you're probably going to hit the other houses looking for the same stuff. So you're better off doing them. If you have probable cause in two locations, you're better off doing them at once. And finally, the roundhouse swing he took at the show of force, really kind of classic defense attorney tactics to try to turn around a bad press day. But in fact, Mr. Combs has a long history of being investigated for things like assaults, harassment, threatening people with baseball bats and kettlebells and things like that. And the way it works in law enforcement is when you are planning a search warrant, if you have any information, and it doesn't have to be a criminal conviction, just intelligence that indicates that someone who's going to be at that residence may have a violent history or have armed themselves against people in the past, you're going to automatically qualify that search warrant or classify it as armed and dangerous. And that classification alone brings an additional level of protection, of tactical preparedness to ensure that there's no problems, that everything is done in as safe a way as possible. So I think what we saw yesterday was understandable in the context of an armed and dangerous warrant.
All right. Andrew McCabe, thanks very much.
But there's a huge possibility that Diddy is just one part of this giant ring that's run by the world's richest and most powerful people. But what ought to prove the FBI agent got against Diddy after their raids is this the beginning of the end.
A lot of the research I've been doing is there's lots of tunnels underneath the New Mexico border going into the Mexico border into Texas and right up all the way up to the top there to Arizona by the looks of it. But the tunnels that I'm looking into seem to be under New Mexico. And I have the feeling that some of these children are going into some projects there that people would rather you didn't know about, and I have reasons to believe that. Does this any way connect to the Epstein compromise situation and probably further afield?
I think it does, but I couldn't prove that today. as I sit here in a court of law. I believe it does because what you essentially have is a connected network of criminals, all of whom are ultimately serving themselves for their own wealth and power. They're willing to do apparently anything to get that wealth and power for themselves. And what we're finding is no matter if it's this group or that group, globally, the same people that are pushing for this globalist agenda, this one world agenda, the global Marxist cabal, the same people that are talking about genocide. How can we radically reduce the population?
If he manages to escape this time around, y'all, you can't blame anybody for thinking that he's actually in on the whole thing and working with the feds to nail other people to the ground.
On this story here.
So it wasn't just this guy that was saying it. Lil Rod, the former producer, filed the lawsuit, and he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. And we don't know what that means. We haven't been able to confirm it. But even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein. It could be worse than just.
And this ain't going to be the first time somebody's accused Diddy of being an FBI agent, considering the fact that he seems to get away with literally everything while the people around him end up taking a fall now.
He was spotted having a good time while dancing to music and smoking at his Miami mansion after Homeland Security raided his homes as part of an ongoing investigation into trafficking. So Kanye warned us years ago that Diddy was a federal informant. Diddy's role was to gather incriminating evidence on celebrities and wealthy individuals. And now his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, has confirmed this.
Puff has been dodging the legal system for years. Puff being, and this is documented, Puff being a CI for an FBI agent. They was taking some papers up to the FBI, so like when they was here in New York.
Diddy being an informant explains why he was in such a good mood and was given a pass to wreak havoc spanning over 15 years.
Kanye, whatever y'all want to call him. But he was actually the first person to start talking about Diddy work with the feds to protect himself from the law.
Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these niggas, all you fake hard niggas, you. Hold on. Okay. All you fake hard niggas, you. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't shoot nobody anyway, and the reason why you got to talk is because you did a deal, you fed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to come at me, because part of the deal for you to be a do all that and get out of jail is that you promise that you're going to go pull my co-car. So y'all niggas shut the up about.
Considering all the shady stuff that Diddy's been involved in and accused of it all, kind of starts to make sense, right? I mean, what's the world coming to when we starting to ask Kanye H okay?
Warning, here are 3 very disturbing blind items that are allegedly about the British rapper Dutchavelli and involve Diddy and Drake and are about the SA of minor children, intimacy involving animals, and intimate work for pay in Dubai. This foreign-born rapper's career was torpedoed when he was caught trying to brainwash school-age children into sleeping with him. Very nasty, but not as nasty as what he let the sheikhs do to him in Dubai. There are rumors of animals being involved too. The Canadian rapper with the self-love tape has been spreading the word. And this is allegedly Dutchavelli and Drake. The Teflon female rapper, Stefflon Don, who is Dutchavelli's sister, and her family are musical, but most of their money comes from their work in the schmex trade. They use their music videos to attract customers. If they could speak Arabic, they would know that they are called the carpet family by the men who pay them. That is because they are always on the floor. That leaked video of the brother, Dutchavelli, pushing the dog towards his rear. Guess who that was for? And again, this is allegedly Stefflon Don and Dutchavelli. Mr. Freakoff, aka Sean Diddy Combs, threw private parties in London because he noticed that British rappers were desperate to please him. One of his favorite London boy toys was the older brother of the Teflon female rapper, Stefflon Don's brother Dutchavelli, who faced child abuse allegations. For the right amount of money, he could be convinced to fulfill Mr. Freakoff's fantasies because he thought it would help his career. It didn't. He did, however, introduce him to some wealthy men in the UAE who would pay for his services. It's why he is always in Dubai. And again, this is allegedly Sean Diddy Combs, Dutchavelli, and Stefflon Don.
So while the FBI has found proof for all the rumors about Diddy being involved in illegal activities have been surfacing over the past few years, people's wondering whether the feds are collecting evidence from his homes or if they are hiding it about former NYPD Detective Derek Barker, known as a hip-hop cop, believes that a lot of Diddy's accomplices should also be.
I've learned from sources that investigators have found several weapons inside his homes. Several. They also have found videos. It's been reported that Diddy has collected images of people in compromising situations at his residences. TMZ now obtained this video inside his home in Los Angeles after the raid by federal agents. It's reported that Diddy is the target of a sex trafficking investigation that comes after he was hit with a wave of civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault and trafficking. I've also learned exclusively that Diddy is in Miami. Authorities know exactly.
Because the FBI is definitely going to come for them after they're done with Diddy Ian. If that ever happens, I mean, V's might start passing him around like he did to people.
What happens here is that the federal government started a case with him. Apparently the search warrant that had his houses in Miami and LA was pre-planned already. They knew they were going to do that. So they have a much bigger case. Right now with the guns, they're going to check them. They're going to trace them, see if they were used in any crimes. They're going to go over anything about cooperators that are cooperating with them. They're going to be talking to a lot of people about certain criminal acts that he might have committed, and then go from there.
And what about the videos?
Well, they're going to sift through those videos. They're going to look at them and then see if there's any criminality on those videos, and then they'll go from there.
So what do you think? I mean, it just seems like the house of cards might fall for Diddy right now.
It's not looking that great. Right now, I know that he has high-powered attorneys, and with all these allegations that are coming out against him and against other people, a lot of people are starting to...
Kanye, whatever y'all want to call him. But he was actually the first person to start talking about Diddy work with the feds to protect himself from the law.
Now that you guys are somewhat friendly?
No. I mean, I didn't say no. Yeah. I know Diddy 30 years. I'm just praying. It's a very sad situation. I don't know enough about it. That's as far as I could go. I stood up last night, maybe 4 hours, praying for him and his kids. His kids, I know them all their life, so...